Good evening, and welcome to A Rude Awakening, episode 35, where I attempt to answer, I get out of the way and I let spirit work through the voice and answer the questions that you're asking. Tonight's question is actually quite interesting, and I'm sure it's something that crosses many a mind as we go down this path of non-duality, and specifically in A Course in Miracles. So the question is started with a letter. So let me read the letter first, and it goes like this: Hello, Luigi. I found your YouTube channel a few months ago. I must say, at first I was angered by your directness, and then in brackets she has, which I saw as a lack of sensitivity towards the suffering of others. Nothing could be further from the truth, but anyway. But I couldn't stop thinking about what you said, specifically about empaths. So I gradually returned to your channel. And now I know that you speak the truth, even though I still find you somewhat rude. Okay, well, it is called the Rude Awakening for a reason. And only the sinners and misfits find this channel because the happy way doesn't work for you. So she goes on. I have been reading A Course in Miracles for the past 35 years, so clearly been a student for a while. There was a stage in my life where all was surreal and peaceful, as happens to most of us when we first discover a non-dual path. And there is a out of time event that happens when the essence of what we are, self and self, unite and align. And then it gets a bit sad, the story. She says, then my husband and son were killed in a car accident and my life fell apart. I'm really sorry to hear that. And I know it's obviously been a few years since this happened, or many years ago, but I can imagine it still weighs on you. And it's still, when you think about them or you miss them, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna feel heart-wrenching. So my heart goes out to you, and sending you blessings and healing thoughts. Anyway, then you put in brackets here, BTW. By the way, I've never remarried, but I have had a few unhappy relationships with abusive men until I turned 70 and quit men forever, since no man ever came close to my loving husband. Okay, obviously. And the reality is that once someone passes your life and they were close to you and you had a very loving relationship, no one actually ever competes with the dead. So you've somewhat done yourself a bit of a disservice there, but let's break it up. Let's break it apart and bring you into the reality, because you are asking for the answers. So slowly, through A Course in Miracles and countless retreats, I gradually came back to the awareness of self. Yet I still wake up some days in total anguish and find myself getting angry at God. Okay, we can expand on that a little later. I asked the question, why did God let me dream up this nightmare? We're asking the question with the same mind that is still dreaming, or appears to still be dreaming, or still believes it's dreaming, even though the dream is over. Now, at the age of 72, I find myself alone and dying of cancer in an old age home. And how many millions of people go through this every day? Again, I now question everything, as I did in my teenage years before I got married. I wonder if I've wasted my time studying A Course in Miracles and should rather have traveled and done all the adventurous things I wanted to do before I got married and had a son. Okay, ego script back in there and is now questioning everything. But I'm rambling again. The question the question I have is, why can I not heal my body? Surely if I understand that I'm not a body, I should be able to heal it. Okay, I'm going to stop there. If you understand you're not a body, then there is no body to heal. And so the healing is purely of the mind. And if you've been doing a course in miracles for 35 years, you know this. The course is addressing us as the dreamer, not the illusionary characters, which are the contents of our dreaming mind, through which the dreamer appears to look at 8 billion ways on planet Earth at the variations about his own dream. And then she writes further, it's either that, so the fact that she should be able to heal her body, or ACIM is a whole lot of nonsense. All of it are just pointings. Every course, every book, every teaching is just a pointing. I know I sound confused because I am. Perhaps you can give me some guidance. Perhaps you could even help me heal this cancer. I know a few people that you have healed, and they were physically way worse off than me. Okay. Perhaps you can heal me. What are your thoughts about this? Please don't hold back. What am I missing? Oh, and should you read this email on your Rude Awakening show, please read the whole thing because it's important that the listeners understand what I'm going through. Yours faithfully, and she signs off with a big hug and a big kiss. Okay, beloved, let's just get to the very bottom of it and just straight up. You want it straight up. You don't want me to hold back. I can't heal your body. No body can heal another body. I have never healed any body. All I can do is point. All I can do is show you another way through my own expression, my own direct experience. I can point to the rest of my fractured selves, this fracture included, how to get out of the way, to let go, let God, and let the holy light of awareness, Holy Spirit, the memory for God within our mind, does the healing. We don't do the healing. I mean, any type of physical healing is just a form of magic. And yes, Holy Spirit works through all of us in many different ways, and so that's why sometimes hands-on healing appears to heal. But the healing of illusionary objects, places, events, things, bodies, is not the true healing that we learn about in A Course in Miracles. The healing that the Course in Miracles teaches us is the healing of mind, the Son of God's mind, that a part of is dreaming of something which isn't real. And so, again, let's go back. It's all energy, and another word for energy is spirit, and another word for spirit is mind. In actual fact, the Course says mind is the activating agent of spirit. But all of it is spirit. All of it is God's mind. And so where did the dream come? Now, some non-dualists will say God is dreaming. God is the witness of the contents of God's dream, the universe. No, God is pure, unconditional, undifferentiated energy, awareness of being. And that awareness of being extends itself, love, eternally here now. Without space-time, it's just a pure present awareness, present being. A part of that extension, which we use the word sun, sun means extension. A part of the extension of that pure primordial, undifferentiated, unconditional love energy, a part of that simply had a dream. And we're using words. Did it dream like we dream at night? No, there was no entity to dream. It's just a way of expressing. It imagined something which can never be, and it imagined. There's no it to imagine. But while we're in duality, we're using words, symbols, but twice removed to try and explain the unexplainable. We try and use parables, stories, um, and tropes to try and get across something which, when you return to the silent stillness within, needs no explanation because it's all pervading, all encompassing, omnipresent, omniscient, here now, joyous being. So I'm sorry to tell you, I can't heal your body, but I'm glad to tell you that what requires healing is most definitely being healed, can be healed, and will heal. And that is our shared mind. I want to take you on a few challenge. I challenge you on a few things that you've brought up, not to upset you, but because you're obviously going through a really tough time, and my heart goes out to you. And I want you to know that I'm consciously here for you. So when you wrote that last part of the email, should I read this email on my show? Please read the whole thing because it's important that the listeners understand what I'm going through. There are no listeners. Anyone that appears to be listening to, witnessing this talk, witnessing this body mind speak, what appears to be listening is only our mind, and it listens through the appearance of body mind characters with ears. But we don't actually hear anything. We don't actually think anything. We don't actually say anything. We either regurgitate the consistent, insistent chatter of our dreaming mind, which we think are thoughts, or we are pure expressions of our holy mind, our Holy Spirit mind, the voice for God. And what determines whether you're speaking the truth? Some people like to say truth to power. There's no power. Truth is power. Or you're rambling off the the delusional rants of our dreaming mind. It's simply, to whom have you dedicated this device to? To whom do you listen to? The holy voice for God, which is silent stillness, silent, doesn't speak, doesn't chatter, or the constant ramblings, yakety yakety yak, that tries to make you special or a victim of the world. No one needs to listen to this. No one needs to hear that you're suffering, because if anyone agrees with your suffering, agrees with your story, then they've bought into another delusional story of our dreaming mind and therefore become trapped by what is not true. Course in Miracles tells us that if don't let your brother believe that he's sick, don't let your brother believe that he's lost or dying, because what appears to be sick or dying or lost isn't real. You're the witness, the decision maker of what you witness to, and that decision maker can and must decide whether what you witness is real or not. And remember, behind the witnessing of the appearance of things in space and time, the substrata, the screen of the movie, is the real essence energy you are, pure divine awareness. While a part of our mind dreams, that awareness has become consciousness. No character's consciousness. Every character appears in the consciousness. Consciousness is the substrate of our dreaming mind. Awareness is our pure, energetic, divine, dynamic essence energy. Be that. Be that knowingly. If anything triggers you, it needs forgiveness. Like if I say, fuck, and it triggers you, go look why it triggers you. Someone taught you that cursing was bad, and you must have been told not to curse, and then you felt guilty for cursing. And so now if someone else curses, your subconscious guilt is triggered. Or if I say fuck and you imagine the doggy position, then that means that the word fuck to you means sex. And sex to you isn't good, or it's dirty, or it's ugly, or it comes with some trauma attached because of abuse in the past. And I say fuck and you imagine sex. When I say fuck, it means nothing. It's just a pff of words. It's just an expression of nothing. So when you triggered by what you think is rude, is because you've now become trapped with identity of the dreaming mind. And the dreaming mind that tried to usurp the power of God imagined a heaven-like state and a heaven-like plane, which became the universe, in which it expected and and deeply desired for this place to be better than heaven, which is pure joyous peace. What could be possibly better than pure joyous peace? So it romanticized, imagine adventure, joy, and peace all into one. Adventure means seeking. It means going to places you've never been before. Holy Son of God, you can't go anywhere because you are everywhere. You are everything. And so what could possibly go on an adventure but that which forgot what it is? And for a while we're on an adventurous lifestyle, we think that we're enjoying ourselves. The reason people love to travel is because their old repetitive patterns of punishment don't pop up while everything is new, while they're looking on new horizons. The mind is absorbing, no time to replay its old thoughts. And that's why no one wants to stay in a place for too long, because then the old recurring shadows, thoughts in form, appear in your dreaming mind or as appearances of others and trigger you all over again. So you ask, what are you missing? You're missing what the Course has been trying to teach you for 35 years, and that is you are not a body, you are spirit. And while you still identify the past, your husband, your son that passed away, it must be a horrific experience. Horrific. I know. I lost a companion. You know, Charlotte and I were together for just over 9 months, and she was killed in a car accident while I was driving, drunk driver. It was traumatic, and that happened just a few years after my wife had left, while I was dying. And so I had just gotten through one heartbreak after another. I know what heartbreak, egoic heartbreak feels like, and it's pure anguish. But our essence, energy, being, soul doesn't break. It's our identity that breaks, and it feels excruciatingly painful for our ego mind because it's the loss of identity and bringing into its consciousness the fear of sin, fear, guilt, consequence, punishment. The reason you sound confused is because although you understand A Course in Miracles, you haven't lived it. You haven't lived as if you truly have transcended the peace of God that transcends understanding and knowing. You've got it from an intellectual point of view, and it serves you when you're in a peaceful state. You understand it and you give other people guidance. But the minute you're triggered by past thoughts, you think memory is to do with the past. What we call memory in this world isn't true memory. Memory is present moment awareness. The memory for God isn't past, it's present. But what we've done in the world of dreams, we've attached memory as present, attached to future, or attached to past. That's not memory, that's illusion. So you mentioned here that you've had several relationships and they've been abusive because no one compares with your husband. Well, that's it. In your younger formative years of relationship, of special love relationship, everything was romantic. You had a son. And I am really sad that you've experienced such pain, but the script is written. You chose to play this out. And you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that you chose to play this out. But you have to take direct responsibility for being the dreamer. And it's not nice. But you've got a few years left on this planet. Um, don't you want to figure it out so that you don't have to regurgitate again and do it all over again? Don't you want to realize you need to release this and have no more desire for any of this to truly be the free spirit you are? If you really understood that you are spirit, you would have no desire to heal the body. You'd be very happy to put it down and return to being with no expectation to hang on to anything that happened here and let go of the painful story. Whenever you repeat your story about your husband passed and you lost your child, horrific, you relive that horror. And so you never heal. If you were to take the memory of your husband and the memory of your son and just empty that objectification of son and husband and just leave it as an empty space, God would fill it instantly. It's like you'd grab a bucket and you dip it into the swimming pool. You'd imagine there'd be a hole in the swimming pool, right? But water just immediately fills that gap. That's what God does. If you can be quiet enough and hold the present moment awareness of your shared beingness with what was your appeared as your son and appeared as your husband, and hold it in the present, in total gratitude for the lesson they came to share with you in the appearance of space time, and left it empty without any identity, husband, son, just pure being, shared fractured selves, sharing your incarnation experience. That emptiness would be filled with the love of God. And your memory of your son and your husband would be joyous. There'd be no pain. And you would never have to speak about it that way again. You would never have to tell anyone that story again, because the reason you keep telling your story about your son and your husband dying in a car accident is because it's not gone yet. And you wear it like a badge where you, the spiritual identity, have suffered. I'm sorry this is hard. Really, it's not easy for me to do this, but I need to so that you can step out of this. You have to. It's now time. This whole thing is answered very easily in the teaching of our Christ mind in A Course in Miracles. A Course in Miracles is our Christ mind talking through a fractured part of our fractured selves, which appeared in space-time, called Helen Schuchman. It's our Christ mind talking to us. Now, of course, to Helen at the time of taking dictation, because her belief system was Jesus, God, Holy Spirit, the memory for God, the thought system of pure awareness, which isn't really a thought system, but it's a way to explain it, appeared to her as a dialogue. And that's why so many people believed that it was Jesus talking to her, because she believed in a Jesus. But if she believed in Zork from Zook, it would have been Zork talking to her, or Buddha or Krishna, depending on whatever she believed. The reality is that it's our awake mind calling our dreaming mind to awaken to itself in the most profound teachings ever. No matter what religion you follow, if you were to do A Course in Miracles alongside that religion, it would enhance your entire belief system, because you would start to see the non-duality, the unification, the atonement principle directly. And what the Course does is, as you understand, transcendence happens. So understanding becomes transcendent into knowing, and the knowing gets given back to you as evidence. The Course always provides evidence. That's the miracle, the evidence of the 180-degree shift, the reversal of thought completely. So it's like little Hansel and Gretel, as they wandered into the forest, were clever enough to drop little pieces of bread or seeds or whatever it was. So they wandered off into the witch's chocolate house. But the beautiful thing is, when they finally escaped, they had the little seeds or the pieces of bread to follow. Holy Spirit's going to take you back through the exact path that you ran away from awareness, the awareness you are, and bring you straight back into the awareness in the most suitable way it is for you. So never wonder if you're on the right path. Never wonder if you're missing anything. You're not missing anything. Never wonder that maybe you should have gone on an adventure. You should have done this. You should have done that. You have lived out your script completely. And the should have, could have, would have is just our fear-based egoic thought system saying, whoa, 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 don't go into the awakening. Don't return to the light, because it doesn't want you to return to the light. It wants you to fear the light, fear the self, fear God. in order that you can be attached to something, so that when you close your eyes for the final time in this lifespan, you're still so attached to the identity that when you return to spirit world, you want to return straight back here as quickly as you can and fulfill your identification. And that's why we reincarnate in the dream. Once you have no more attachment to body, mind, identity, or trying to fix anything in this delusional place called the universe or planet Earth, there's no more attachment to it. There's no need to come back. As I've mentioned a million times before, and I'll say it again, our greatest fear isn't the fear of death. Our greatest fear is the fear of never having existed as a separate body mind entity, and which is the truth. None of us actually exist as separate beings. All of us collapse into one indivisible mind. We are one mind, dreaming of billions of little minds through which we experience the contents of our delusion. But the most, to me, when I was reading your letter, the first thing that came to mind was chapter 26.7, the laws of healing. And this is for all the course, those of you that are studying A Course in Miracles. And anyway, if you're watching my channel, surely by now you understand I primarily teach from that path. So we need to understand the immutable law of healing. And the immutable law of healing is not required in heaven, because in heaven there's no healing required. Everything's perfect. But while we dream, what we dream of is like an elastic band trying to pull away from the source, from the center. Healing is purely the natural elasticity of the band pulling us straight back to point zero. So healing is just letting go of resistance and returning to being as you are. So the laws of healing. Let me explain it. You need to understand it for transcendence to happen, because an understanding doesn't have to be intellectual. You can sense this, you can feel this as I speak. And so 26.7 says, this is a course in miracles. As such, the laws of healing must be understood before the purpose of the course can be accomplished. What's the purpose of the course? Ask 100 course teachers, they'll tell you 100 different stories. Let's review the principles that we have covered and arrange them in a way that summarizes all that must occur for healing to be possible. So, what's the purpose of the course? The healing of our dreaming mind. Now, it's going to play out in 8 billion different ways, because each one appears to require healing in a slightly different way. But at the end of the day, it's simply awaken to self, Holy Son of God, and realize you've never left your Father's kingdom, for you are the kingdom. How can you leave what you are? For when it is once possible, it must occur. So, addressing your challenge that you're experiencing, as horrific, it's lonely, and your body appears to be dying. All sickness comes from separation. Nothing can be separated. So all sickness comes from the idea separation is possible. When the separation is denied, sickness goes. For it is gone as soon as the idea that brought it has been healed. What's the idea? Separation is possible. I usurped the power of God. He's going to punish me. No, you didn't. You simply dreamt you have. And it has been replaced by sanity. Sickness and sin are seen as consequences and cause. Sickness, sin, or is it consequence? Which is the cause? The cause is simply a tiny mad idea. And so sickness and sin, sickness is seen as the consequence of what caused sin. You've never sinned, so there's no need for sickness. Sicknesses and sin are seen as consequence and cause in a relationship kept hidden from the awareness that it may be carefully preserved from reason's light. Now, a mind awake to self is pure reason. Would a reasonable person act this way? Would love act this way? Is it reasonable? And so when you lose reason, you've lost vigilance. And what is vigilance? Vigilance is simply being aware that you're aware. You don't require vigilance for awareness. Awareness is vigilance. What this course is trying to do is it's trying to get us to be aware, to align. with our essential nature, our holy memory, simply align with what's real. And, the minute you've aligned with what is real, alignment is all there is, because alignment is pure present moment awareness. Guilt asks for punishment, and its request is granted. So think back at your life. You felt guilty that you couldn't save your husband and your son. So what did you do? When you were ready for the next bunch of relationships, as you explained in your letter early on, there was about a 5-year period before you started dating again. You still felt guilty. You felt guilty you were dating. You felt that you deserved to be punished. You didn't believe you deserved to be loved. And so what happened? Guilt asks for punishment, and its request is granted. And so you found yourself attracting people that felt guilty too, guilty men, and therefore you had abusive relationships because they were showing you your self-abuse and their abuse of you. Not in truth, but in the world of shadows and illusions, built on the idea of sin, guilt, fear, punishment. The Son of God perceived what what he would see, because perception is a wish fulfilled. Remember, the universe is perception already fulfilled. If you were to remove perception from the universe, what would you see if you could see? You would just see light. The minute you put filters in the front of the light, the filters have little objects on them, and what's filtered through the light appears as a universe: planets, people, places, things, and events. Perception changes, made to take the place of changeless knowledge, pure present moment awareness. Pure knowledge, God's knowledge, is pure awareness. There's no thing to know. Yet is truth unchanged. It cannot be perceived, but only known. And what's that knowing of truth? It's just pure presence. It's just the pure awareness, being, the infinite lightness of being. What is perceived takes many forms, but none has meaning. People, places, things, events, perceived, outside yourself, brought to truth, brought to awareness, brought to present moment. Its senselessness is quite apparent, kept apart from truth. It seems to have a meaning and be real. So kept apart from truth, it seems to whatever meaning you've given it. Perception's laws are opposite to truth. So what you see, feel, touch, hear isn't real. It's the opposite of what's true. What's true? Stillness, silence. And guess what? Stillness and silence is not boring. It's dynamic. It's pure flow of energy, of love energy. It's everything you've ever imagined. And guess what? It's not something you need to achieve. It's what you are in truth. Perception's laws are opposite to truth. And what is true of knowledge is not true of anything that is apart from it. Yet God has given answer to the world of sickness, which applies to all its forms. Now, you can't talk to God, or you can think you're talking to God. God can't hear you. Okay? God can't hear a single person on this entire planet, including Jesus, that lived 2,000 years ago. Why? Because we're characters in the dreaming mind, which is asleep. What does God hear? Hear. Well, hear. The call for love from his son who's dreaming, and he's groaning and moaning while he's experiencing his nightmare. And what's God's son? What's God's answer to his son? Not to delve into his dream and see what he made up, because it would make it real. It's simply return to me and awaken and realize you're still in the kingdom. You are the kingdom, dreaming as if you're in exile. That's all God does. The Holy Spirit, which is God's voice, like you know, a connection, umbilical cord into the dream of nothingness, is just constantly pulling us out of it. If we're willing to listen to the voice of God, which is listen to the stillness within, delve into it. Okay. God's answer is eternal, though it appears to work in time where it is needed in our dream. Yet because it is of God, the laws of time do not affect its workings. Why? Because laws of time appear to be like a string, started here, ends there. Whereas if you take that string and put it into a straight line, you realize it's always here now. There's never been a time when God is not omnipresent. Okay. It is in this world, but not part of it. for it is real and dwells where all reality must be. Where is reality? Here now, the awareness of being. Ideas leave not their source, and their effects but seem to be apart from them. Ideas are of the mind, what is seemingly projected out, but there is no in and out. It's always here now. What is projected out seems to be external to the mind. It is not outside at all, but an effect of what is in and has not left its source. It's all happening in your mind. So think about it when you dream at night. When you wake up in the morning, the activities that you dreamt up are now not scattered all over your bedroom just because you woke up suddenly in a sharp fright. And all of a sudden, all the whatever you manifested in your dream now appears in your bedroom. No, when you wake up, everything you dreamt about, that entire dream content, husband, son, cars, accidents, lovers, all of those stories dissolve in the light of you waking up. It's time to awaken to your true reality and not be trapped in your dream, trying to make sense of a senseless dream that never happened in our absolute reality. It happened in your subjective dream reality. But, Holy Son of God, brother, sister, I cannot acknowledge the reality of your illusion. I can only acknowledge the reality of our shared absolute oneness, in which love is all there is. I can't imagine you or believe that you are sick. I cannot, because you are not sick. You're just a fractured part of our mind believing it could be sick. The reality of you is the reality of me, is the reality of 8 billion people in this world, including Jesus 2,000 years ago. And that reality is our one indivisible Christ mind itself, essence energy. Okay. God's answer lies where the belief in sin must be, in our dreaming mind. For only there can its effects be utterly undone and without cause. Perception's laws must be reversed. Perception, dreaming. The laws of dreaming must be reversed because they are reversals for the law of truth, which is the laws of awareness, awake awareness. The laws of truth forever will be true and cannot be reversed. It can be seen as possible, but it can be seen as upside down. And this must be corrected where the illusion or reversal lies, in our dreaming mind. When we awaken, we realize this never happened. You see, but the body mind characters go, but dreaming mind, if you waken up, we dissolve and we disappear. No, we are one mind. Everything you are that is pure and good and loving remains as you. And you happen to be 8 billion people on this planet, 9 septillion throughout the universe, and yet it's just one mind. And you have noticed that the common theme through all human beings is a joyous lightness of being, a childlike innocence, no matter how cruel, how vicious, how ugly on the outside, inside, even the worst possible criminal, dig deep enough, unlayer the layers of hurt, guilt, fear, and ugliness and vengeance, and inside is a tiny little seed, an innocent child that just wants to be loved and be remembered by its source. All of us are the same. Return to that. It is impossible that one illusion be less amenable to truth than the rest, but it is possible that some are given greater value and less willingly offered to truth for healing and for help. So there's a part of you that is healed 35 years into the course, but there's a part of you that wants to hang on to your story. You have to give it all up. All stories of body, mind, identity. No illusion has any truth in it. No illusion of being a Course in Miracles teacher, a spiritual teacher, a spiritual path. You've done none. And that's why the spiritual ego is the final obstacle to peace, because the ego metamorphosizes, then it becomes spiritual, now becomes a healer, now becomes a teacher. If you are still struggling with any sort of insight here, you're not ready to teach. Shouldn't be on a stage teaching, because what's the world going to see? An unhealed healer. And they're going to go, well, the course doesn't work because you're unhealed. You're still talking about your pain. Every time you open your mouth, you're still bringing up your Dead Poet Society. Let it go. If you truly want to be a teacher for God, you're not carrying any pain. And the only time you use a story is to convey a lesson of awakening, not to bring your suffering out there. And damn it, there's a billion analogies. You don't have to bring up your story. Because what do? You need empathy. You're looking for energy. You're looking for, it's a call for love. No illusion has truth in it. Yet it appears some are more true than others, although this clearly makes no sense at all. So spirituality truth isn't more real than illusion. Reading A Course in Miracles is no more spiritual than fishing for fishes in the sea. All that a hierarchy of illusion can show is preference, not reality. And what do people do once they get onto a new spiritual path? Oh, we belong to the special Help Me Jesus Club, and everybody else are sinners. Don't do that. That's just nonsense. I mean, how many truly happy religious people do you know? Truly happy, not fake, not blessing people all the time, and then posting about how many people they've helped and all the charity they do, just living a quiet life, quietly serving others. Can you truly serve without bragging about it? Ever hear about any of my charities? Have I ever discussed it? No one knows what I do. And no one needs to know, you know. So what relevance has preference to the truth? Illusions are illusions and are false. You never had a husband, you never had a son. Holy Son of God, you just dreamt you did. It's hard. I know it is. And no wonder you think I'm rude and I have no empathy. But the truth is I don't. There is no I to have empathy, and there is no I to be rude. It's this, the voice for God, using this device, this rude appearing device, this crazy Portuguese South African device, to bring the reality to your awareness. And how did you find me? You know of other people I've healed? Have I really healed anyone? Or did they heal because they were willing to see anew? I can't heal anything. Your preference gives them no reality. Not one is true in any way, and all must yield with equal ease to what God gave as an answer to them all. You but dream a dream, Holy Son of God. Stop talking about it. Stop desiring it. Stop trying to fix it. The atonement's for self, the awakening to self. And when you, a fractured idea in the dreaming mind, heal, that is a healed idea, that healed idea dissolves out of the consciousness of dream and returns to the awareness of your right mind. Therefore, extending the awareness of your right mind, which filters into the dream and dissolves the shadows that never existed. Sin is not error. Think about this. Oh, it's not a sin, it's just an error. Sin is an error. For it goes beyond correction to impossibility. There can be no sin. Say that to the Christians. They shit themselves. They forget forgiveness immediately. Why? Because they need sin in order to, Jesus died for them. And therefore, by the blood of Jesus, their sins are forgiven. And if you take that away from them, they'd rather be angry than be at peace. They'd rather be vengeful and attack you than think about what that means and recognize either God is totally fucking insane and could dream up or imagine or create a universe where his children would suffer. Is it not more probable that you are wrong about what the Bible has taught you? Books written thousands of years ago, before anyone was woke, while sexism ruled, when men were men and women were nervous and got married off and didn't have a say. Isn't it possibly wrong that men of old 2,000 years ago weren't inspired by the Holy Spirit, were inspired by their desires for power, as they have been ever since? Sin is not error, for it goes beyond correction to impossibility. Not possible. Yet the belief that it is real has made some errors seem real forever and past the hope of healing and the lasting grounds for hell. And you love that. You build churches and you worship sin. And then you think you're the good guys, and then you accuse Satan of being the temptress or whatever the hell she is. Because, of course, Satan can't possibly be a man. Who else would hold a grudge for 2,000 fucking years? If this would so, would heaven be opposed by its own opposite as real as it? Is there an opposite to what's all-encompassing? If God is truly omnipresent, where is God not? And if God is truly omnipresent and God is love, then where is love not? And the Christians love to say shit like, but sin is just the absence of love. Oh, go shove it up your Uranus. What a load of shit. The belief in sin is just the absence of awareness, because love is all there is. And awareness is love. Awareness is God. And it's your belief in your dream of separation where sin is real, but you're saved because you believe in whatever deity, and everybody else is going to be punished because you need to be special, because you're so fucking useless and your life has amounted to nothing, that the only way you can make yourself feel good is by being spiritually superior. Pure egoic bullshit. Spiritual religious ego is the worst form of Satanism there is. There, I've said it. Satanism is ignorance. That's it. There's no Satan, no fucking devil, no such thing. Because if this was possible, then God's will would be split in two, and all creation be subjected to the laws of two opposing powers. So God created Satan. Now Satan fights God. What a load of absolute fucking bullshit. Who imagines this shit? Who imagines this shit but men 2,000 years ago who were circumcised and therefore were angry because someone cut off the tips of their penises? That's what happened. Ah, you feel insulted? I don't give a fuck. You've had 2,000 years to spew forth your bullshit. So thus has God lost his mind, proclaiming sin has reality from him, and brought his love at last to vengeance heals. For such is the insane picture of an insane defense, okay, to be expected in a world, but it cannot establish the picture must be true. It's but dream state. And if anyone just sat and looked at this illusionary nightmare, you'd realize God has nothing to do with this. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing gives it meaning where there is no meaning, where no meaning is. And truth needs no defense to make it true. Illusions have no witnesses and no effects. Who looks on them is but deceived. Forgiveness. And what did Jesus teach? I seek mercy, forgiveness, not sacrifice. Who, but this is evil. This is the devil's work, A Course in Miracles. And now, after 35 years, egos come through the back door. Why? Because you haven't remained vigilant, because you don't believe you're worthy, because you felt guilt. And your guilt has now made open the door for the vengeful thoughts of sin, fear, and guilt to return, ego, and make you doubt the blissful peace you once experienced when you stopped searching, when you had your husband and your son, and life seemed surreal, and you'd found the course seemed surreal. Why? Because the search had stopped. It wasn't because you had a son. It wasn't because you had a husband. It wasn't because you had A Course in Miracles. It was because for a little while, you, the body, mind, character, stop searching. And when you stop searching, you're present. And in the present, you're in the moment, you're in the now. And it's the now, which is blissful joy. Forgiveness is the only function here in this world of dreams, and serves to bring this joy, to bring the joy this world denies to every aspect of God's Son, where sin was thought to rule. Thought. Perhaps you do not see the role forgiveness plays in ending death. You were never born as a body, and therefore you never died as a body. Therefore, you never had a husband as a body that died as a body. You never had a son as a body that died as a body. You just dream you did, Holy Son of God. There's just love awareness. But you've put filters in the way, and those filters appear as bodies and stories and husbands and sons and abusive relationships, and now appears as cancer. Perhaps you do not see the role forgiveness plays in ending death, or the idea of death, and all beliefs that rise from the mists of guilt. Sins are the belief that you impose between your brother and yourself, stories you tell about other people, and past husband, past son. It's you, indivisible, one shared self. They limit you to time and place and give you a little space, a little body mind space to you, another little space to them, to him. This idea, separating off is symbolized in your perception by a body which is clearly separate and a thing apart. And it's that body that appears to be dying, to be sick. That little fictional character you've imagined, the essence of you cannot die, because that essence is love. And that love is the love of God you are, and it's eternal. Yet what the symbol represents is but your wish to be apart and to be separate and to tell your story so that everybody may hear that you're a body mind that has suffered, and look what you've gone through and what you're looking for. I'm sorry to say this, it's a cry for love, but you're looking for pity. You're looking for compassion and pity and validation that your story is real. It's time to drop it. You did ask me to be direct. I'm being direct. Anybody watching this that you think I'm cruel, I'm only cruel because you deny yourself. When you deny reality, truth always seems cruel because you want to pull away from truth, your source, and the pulling back to return to being to the ego seems cruel because of the ego returning to source means its own death. And so returning to the awareness of the awareness you are to the ego always seems cruel. Forgiveness takes away what stands between your brother and yourself, your stories. It is the wish that you be joined with them and not apart. We call it wish because it still conceives of other choices and has not yet reached beyond the world of choice entirely. Yet it is this wish in line with heaven's state, not in opposition to God's will. Although it falls far short of giving you your full inheritance, it does remove the obstacles, the ideas, the identity, space-time, and sin that you have placed between the heaven where you are, the heaven that you are, and the recognition of where and what you are. And what are you? You're the love of God. You are the kingdom. Kingdom isn't a place. Kingdom is present moment awareness. It's just pure energy. Facts are unchanged. Yet facts can be denied and thus unknown by a mind that dreams and has forgotten what it is when it's fully awake to self, though they were known before they were denied. Salvation, perfect and complete, asks but a little wish that what is true be true, a little willingness to overlook what is not there. Stop telling your story. It's the only way you overlook it. Stop reliving it and stop feeling the anguish, because what feels the anguish? Your ego that wants to see itself as a victim of a world that has done this unto you. A little sigh that speaks for heaven as a preference to this world that death and desolation seem to rule. In joyous answer, will creation rise with you? Because what's creation? The extension, the pure extension of love. Rise within you to replace the world you see with heaven, holy, perfect, and complete. Just take those objects of anguish, everything that's unforgiven, and in place of those little caricatures that you imagine, leave them empty, let God fill it. What is forgiveness but a willingness that truth be true? What can remain unhealed and broken from a unity which holds all things within itself? And there is no sin. And every miracle is possible the instant that the Son of God perceives his wishes and the will of God are one indivisible awareness. Because even a will is not necessary when all is one. What is there to will? What is the will of God? He wills his Son have everything. And what does it mean to will that his Son has everything? It's done. If God wills it, it means done. And remember, God's not a character, a creature, a being. God is pure energy. And what stops energy from being energy? Nothing. But the idea of that energy can be something else. Why? Because energy is just pure energy, and therefore is it free. And if it's free, it seems to have a will. And what is free will? Just the idea that you can imagine shit that never happened. That's all it is. And that's all you've done, Holy Son of God. You're just dreaming. And I'm not dressing you as a character right now that seems to be sick or suffering or watching me on YouTube. Right now, I'm addressing you, the dreaming mind, which appears to see this speak to itself, which is just right-mindedness, talking to wrong-mindedness, calling you to be right-minded and realize there's no you, there's no I, there's no screen, there's no computer, there's no phone, there's no room, there's no body. There's just the light of awareness. And what appears to be a wonderful story of a YouTube talk is actually just a memory for God reminding you that you are pure love, that you are pure awareness. The miracle by which creation became your function, because what does creation extend? What is extending? Awareness, love, sharing it with God. It is not understood apart from him. and therefore it has no meaning in this world. Why? Because you've never left God, and what you dream of never happened. Here does the Son of God ask not too much. In this world, it is not understood apart from God. And in your dream, you ask too little. And just to have a fail-safe that you don't ask too much and don't acknowledge what you are, religion has taught you that it's not, it's evil to imagine you're the Son of God, because there's only one and not you. You see, because there's only one Son. We say there's only one Son of God, but we then separate and objectify one. No, oneness. The whole universe is in that one Son's dreaming mind. And therefore, everything is the one Son. Yet, as the Son of God, not ask not too much, but far too little. And what should you really be asking for? The power of God be yours. What is the power of God? The essence, energy flowing through you, love flowing through you. Not a power to control others like the world's power. It's the power that healing be now, instant, holy instant. He would sacrifice his own identity with everything, with these stories of a past and suffering and what was done to him, to find a little treasure of his own. And he cannot do it without a sense of isolation, loss, and loneliness. And what happens to millions of people in this world? Those that are fortunate enough to end up in an old age home, alone, lonely, dying of cancer. That happens to millions. When I go visit mom in the old age home, that's what I see. Millions, hundreds of people just lonely. No matter how much wealth their families had, how much they provided for their families, there they are, off in East London, alone, suffering, dying, all of them. Okay. This is the treasure he has sought to find. And he could only be afraid of it if fear is a treasure. Can uncertainty be what you want? Or is it a mistake about your will and what you really are? And so now that you're alone and you're lonely, instead of reflecting on the joyous lightness of being, instead of celebrating the essence energy you are, the life you are, ego mind has got an open door and it's channeling through you. And what are you doing? You're regurgitating its thoughts, believing those thoughts are yours. And you're finding yourself a miserable victim of the world you see, filled with regrets that happened in time, which never really happened if you just return to present moment awareness. Is this hard? It's a kick up the arse. But right now, you need to return to being, telling, not telling stories and needing to be seen as a victim. If that's what you need, you come back. You've got plenty more to play if you really want. Or you can exit this silly little chess game of kings, fools, and horses and return to the lightness of being. Let us consider what the error is so it can be corrected, not protected. Sin is belief. Attack can be projected outside the mind where the belief arose. Here is a firm conviction that the ideas can leave their source and made real and meaningful. And from this era does the world of sin and sacrifice arise, past tense. The world is an attempt to prove your innocence while cherishing attack and that you're a victim of the world and people have been hurt and taken from you and abusive relationships since. Its failure lies in that you still feel guilty. And what does it feel guilty for? Not for usurping the power of God. You don't remember that. But it plays out through characters. Through your husband and son dying, you could do nothing about it. You felt unworthy of love, and ever since then, unworthy of love. And now you've decided to no more men. No more men, no more fractured parts of yourself. Embrace it all, love it all, and be that loving being you are. Effects are seen as separate from their source and seem to be beyond your control to prevent. What is thus kept apart can never join, and yet it's all within your mind, waiting to be remembered as one and undifferentiated, indivisible beings. Cause and effect are one, not separate. God wills you to learn what always has been true, that he created you as a part of him, therefore an extension of him. And this must still be true because ideas leave not their source. Such is creation's law, that each idea the mind conceives but adds to its abundance and never takes away. Healing is abundance. This is as true as of what is idly wished as what is truly willed,
because the mind can wish to be deceived, but it cannot make it be what it is not. And to believe ideas can leave their source is to invite illusions to be true without success. For never will success be possible in trying to deceive the Son of God. And the Son of God isn't deceived by his past. You are not today because of what happened to you. The past experiences didn't make you the person you are today. First of all, you're not a person. Second of all, there's no past. Nothing made you anything. You purely dream something that never happened. The miracle is possible when cause and consequence are brought together, not kept separate. The healing, the healing of effect without cause can merely shift effects to other forms. And this is not release. God's Son could never be content with less than full salvation and escape from guilt, escape from dreaming. For otherwise, he still demands that he must make some sacrifice, be alone and die of cancer, and thus denies that everything is his, unlimited by loss of any kind. You are the pure light, love of awareness. You are the same essence, energy Jesus is. A tiny sacrifice is just the same as its effects, as is the whole idea of sacrifice. Nothing to give up and no regret. Yes, no matter how badly you think you fuck it up, no regret. Bring it into the present, forgive, return to awareness, make it right if you've hurt others, fractured parts of yourself, okay? And then do right by others in service. Don't now just try and brush it under the carpet because the guilt will just return. If loss in any form is possible, then is God's Son made incomplete and not himself, and you are God's Son. So nothing that happened to you is real. You but dream it happened. Nor will he know himself, nor recognize his will. He has forsworn his Father and himself, and made them both his enemies in hate. That's all this dream is. The belief in a fearful, vengeful God that would send his own Son to die for the sins of, well, who are they? Cannon fodder? Oh, the rest of God's children. That's the Son, the rest are children. It's insane, those beliefs. Illusions serve the purpose they were made to serve. And from their purpose, they derive whatever meaning that they seem to have. God gave to all illusions that were made another purpose, this world you made, that would justify a miracle, whatever form they took. In every miracle, all healing lies. For God gave answer to them all as one answer. Awaken to self, Holy Son of God. There's no body that needs to be healed. There's no bodies. There's just a mind awakening to capital M mind, the mind of God. And what is one to him must be the same. If you believe that what is the same is different, you but deceive yourself. What God calls one Son, will be forever one, the extension of himself, not separate. His kingdom is united. Thus it was created, not made, not imagined like the universe. And thus it will forever be, because it's just being. The miracle but calls your ancient name, the I amness. I am, being, the awareness of being, the likeness of being, which you will recognize because the truth is in your memory. Where's your memory? Here now. And to this name your brother calls for his release and yours. This is you calling yourself to release, and I'm just an instrument. No special instrument, just willing to be rude, because sometimes our fractured parts don't want to hear nice words, because the nice words don't shake us awake. Heaven is shining on the sun, you, the Son of God. Deny him not, deny yourself not, deny your Christhood not, that you may be released and healed, and then gently put this body down and return to the light Christ awareness you are. Each instant is the Son of God reborn until he chooses not to die again. We're born and born again and born again and born again. Funny that the reborn Christians don't believe in reincarnation, but what does it really mean to be reborn? Baby, old man die, baby, old man die, baby, old man die, and so you go, or old woman, depending which sex you choose, okay, before you incarnate. So each instant is the Son of God reborn until he chooses not to die again. In every wish to hurt himself, hurt others, hurt ideas, he chooses death instead of what his Father wills from him. So every time you regurgitate your hurtful past, you're choosing death. Be present here now, never talk about it. Every instant offers life to him. Because why? Life is the essence energy you are. because his Father wills that he should live, because you are life, you are essence energy, you are God's essence energy, ever extending. In crucifixion is redemption laid, for healing is not needed where there is no pain or suffering. What's the crucifixion of the Son? It's every time you go through the dark night of your soul, punish yourself, believe in guilt, you crucify yourself, you crucify your essence energy, the Son of God in you. Forgiveness is the answer to attack of any kind. So is attack deprived of its effects? No, thank you. Get behind me, Satan. Get behind me, thoughts. And hate is answered in the name of love. No, thank you. Abide. Give gratitude to you, whom it has been given to save the Son of God from crucifixion, to save yourself from the dream of death and from hell and death. All glory be forever, because glory is your light. For you have the power to save the Son of God and all the characters he's dreamt up, because his Father willed that it be so, awaken to self. And so your hand does all, in your hands does all salvation lie, to be both offered and received as one. You can't offer it unless you have it, and unless you can only know you have it in order to know you have it and to be able to offer it. To use the power God has given you as he would have it used as natural to extend the beingness you are, the love you are. It is not arrogant to be as he's created you, a sinner filled with guilt, suffering, where you've experienced pain and loss throughout your life. You haven't. You just dreamt you have. Awaken to your reality. Let's not linger on dreams anymore. He created you, nor make you, sorry, it is not arrogant to be as he created you, nor make use of what he gave to answer all his son's mistake and set him free. But it is arrogant to lay aside the power that he gave to be that which created the universe. You made it, the entire thing. That's how powerful you are. You made this entire universe and your body. Okay. And all his son's mistake and set him free. But it is arrogant to lay aside the power he gave and to choose a little senseless wish instead of what he wills. Let's not heal the bodies. Let's heal the mind, and no more bodies are needed. The gift of God to you is limitless. There is no circumstance it cannot answer, and no problem which is not resolved within its gracious lights. Always here now, present, moment awareness. Abide in peace, rest in God, where God would have you be, and be the means whereby your brother, the rest of yourselves, and yourself finds the peace in which your wishes are fulfilled. Let us unite in bringing blessings to the world of sin and death. For what can save each one of us can save us all. It only requires one. How many teachers that are required to heal the world? One. Okay. There's only one teacher. There's only one son. There's only one dreamer. There is no difference amongst the Son of God. Sons, as in fractured parts of the dreaming mind. The unity that specialness denies will save them all. For what is one can have no specialness. No deities, nothing to worship, nothing beyond you. Your worship is only for the grace of God. And everything belongs to each of them. No wishes lie between a brother and his own. To get from one is to deprive them all, and yet to bless one, but gives blessings to them all as one. Your ancient name, the I Amness, the Holy Son of God, Christ, belongs to everyone as theirs to you. Call on your brother's name. Call on Christ. Call on the I Amness. The love I am recognizes the love you are. Call on your brother's name and God will answer. For on him you call. Could he refuse to answer where he has already answered all that call on him? A miracle can make no change at all, but it can make what always has been true be recognized by those who know it not. And by this little gift of truth, but let to be itself. The Son of God allowed himself to be himself, and all crucifixion freed to call upon the name of God as one. I'm going to read that one again. A miracle can make no change at all, but it can make what always has been true be recognized by those who know it not. And by this little gift of recognition, of return to awareness, gift of truth, but let to be itself. You, the Son of God, allow yourself to be yourself knowingly. Be yourself knowingly. And all creation, pure essence energy extending, free to call upon the name of God as one indivisible, Holy Son awakening to himself. You are the Holy Son of God. you've never left the kingdom. You've but dreamt a life you've never had. And you are the dreamer that appears to have dreamt your life and 8 billion other lives. Return to ground zero, to the witness, to the observer of dreams. Be the witness and recognize none of this is true. What is true is the witness, and the witness is just pure essence energy. Witnessing what's not true, can't quite remember what is true, but surrender to, align to the divine, and the awakening takes place. What's the awakening? The recognition of our shared light, of our shared joyous being. Let go of the stories. Stop trying to heal others, bodies, places, things, events, circumstances. Return to the presence, the ever-present presence. Give gratitude that you are aware of that essence, energy, presence. That presence is your essence energy. It's your life force. What is life force? It's love ever extending. Where does that love come from? Your source. So if you are that essence energy, which is life source, ever extending, you are the extension of that life force. You're the extension of God. You're the sun. Be that knowingly. Return to it. Enjoy a silent peace. Oh, and one more thing. It's not in the future. It's not coming. It's not a miracle one day when you've done enough years of A Course in Miracles or whatever. It's present here now. The acknowledgement that there can be another way to see this, and to truly ask to be shown at the willingness of sacrificing all of this. Because what do you sacrifice when you sacrifice illusion? You sacrifice nothing. What do you give up when you give up space and time and matter? You give up nothing. Let go, surrender. I know the Course doesn't use the word surrender because it doesn't want to scare the Course student, but it is now time. Surrender. Let go, let God. Abide in gratitude. Anything triggers you, forgive, 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 forgive until it no longer triggers you, until it no longer pops up. To forgive is to forget. And what do you forget? You forget illusions. You forget illusionary triggers. You return to being. Being is knowing. Knowing is love, awareness, the essence energy, the life force, which is God. Be that knowingly. You've got this. You can do this. Sometimes you do need a good, rude awakening. Sometimes you do need a good kick up the Uranus, all the way up, travels all the way up through the Kundalini, third eye opens, fairy dust, unicorn feathers. But hey, what's the point of being nice to fractured parts of our dreaming self if nice is like a warm cup of tea when what you really need is a strong cigarette, a strong Jack Daniels, a good kick up the Uranus, and a reminder of the Holy Son of God you are. Be blessed. Thanks for joining me. Next week, I will answer some questions on spirit world and how many a course teacher is afraid to talk about that because it's not real. So we mustn't deny the world of illusion, but we must deny the spirit world and the phases and the stages. And yet anything and everything, if correctly applied and given to the Holy Spirit, can help you align with the Lord God of your being. And remember, you went the esoteric path away from God, you'll return the esoteric path. You went the scientific path away from God, you'll return via the scientific path. You went the Luigi Poo way away from God, madness and motorcycles and Jack Daniels and spanky wanky, then boy, oh boy, that's the same way you're going to go back. It's just illusion. The minute you stop taking it seriously and stop being offended by all the fucking shit out there, then you'll finally be at peace and nothing will bother you. No more stay. Be blessed.